Hello, and today you find me on another station along the Tonbridge to Reigate line, a lovely community rail line this, which is managed by the South Eastern Community Rail Partnership. Welcome to Penshurst. Although named Penshurst, the station is actually located slightly closer to Chittingston. Opened in 1842, the station originally had a staggered platform arrangement, the platform on the Tonbridge-bound side being closer to the Penshurst Tunnel. The main station building was on the Reigate-bound side and contained the gentlemen's toilets. However, it did not have a canopy, so if it was raining, the booking hall would be extra busy with passengers sheltering from weather. There was no shelter on the Tonbridge-bound side. Quite a few sidings were positioned to the north and south off the main running lines, and it did have a brick-built goods shed. Originally controlled by manual levers, the station eventually got a signal box in the mid-1890s, this being positioned to the western end of the Tonbridge-bound platform. Changes came at the start of the 1900s, with a platform canopy being added to the station building and a waiting shelter at last being put on the Tonbridge-bound platform. The Southern Railway would need to replace the main station building in 1924 when fire destroyed the original. As well as this replacement, a small waiting shelter on the Reigate-bound side was built with an attractive pyramid-shaped roof. Much remained the same until the 1960s, when, like most railway stations, British Rail would start demolishing and closing areas at Penshurst. First the goods shed, then the sidings, and finally in 1971 the main building was demolished, although curiously the waiting shelter was spared. The signal box was removed in 1986 and the line was electrified in 1990. During this, the Tonbridge-bound platform was moved so as to be parallel with the Reigate-bound side, connected by a footbridge. Right, before we even enter the station here at Penshurst, there's some lovely historical bits of value here in the very small and modest car park. That's the part of the old siding which is still intact, hasn't been raised, which is quite amazing really. But Penshurst Station, and I think this is going to be a little gem. Let's move up and have a look onto what is Platform 1. And before you enter Platform 1, there's a nice little notice board here welcoming you to Penshurst. And indeed there is a platform information board. Right, and before I go up onto Platform 1, there is this little area here, obviously used for railway workers, and it is locked up. However, there's no signage here telling me I can't. That, for me, is a fantastic view down the line. Little kink through that small tunnel there, but what a great view all the way down. That's heading towards Tonbridge. Obviously very good if you're going to be getting some specials, or even some freight which comes along here occasionally. Anyway, let's continue onto the actual platform face itself. And yes, let's get up onto Platform 1 and you'll see a help point. There's the actual footbridge and a tap-in tap-out reader. And there's provision here for cycles as well. There's a London and South East Rail Services map and some various other information posters. And there's a dot matrix display as well, but I think you may already have seen a little bit here. There's an absolute gem on this platform, and this is the waiting shelter. Amazing this is still intact. What an absolute find this is. All credit to Southern and the Rail Community Partnership for keeping this well maintained. Let's have a little look inside it. And just as I thought, it is exceptionally well maintained. Look at this. Got some nice seating in here, and there's some artwork. That roof is quite amazing. I mean, you're not going to see many of these across the network, I must say. This is very unique. I've never seen one quite like it. But fantastic, it's still here. And there is a little notice here about the Penshurst Platform Gallery. And there is a little bit of a note or a nod to the South East Communities Rail Partnership. If you want to read that, just pause and have a read. Right, I come out of that lovely waiting shelter there, and there's seating outside as well if you fancy it on a nice warm day. Have a look down here. There's not much to talk about really. It's just a fairly wide platform, although I do see something which I always like to video in these videos, and that is a milepost marker. Sometimes they're on the tracks like they were at Lee, but this one is prominent on the actual platform. And carrying on down to the end of platform 1, if you can get past the fact that there is that signal in the way, I don't think that's a very bad view all the way down that line. It's quite clear. I don't think it's going to be as clear from platform 2, so I think that's the best you're going to get, but nevertheless, a lovely clear shot down the line there. Okay, let's leave platform 1 behind and go up over this footbridge. And just a note on this footbridge, although it's nice to see it here, it could do with a little bit of TLC. Be nice to see that paintwork scraped back and then painted into the nice southern green again. Just a little note, doesn't really matter too much because of that lovely waiting shelter behind me. But anyway, let's go up and over the bridge onto platform 2. And you know how much I love looking across a bridge, and this one is no exception. That's looking towards Tonbridge, and you see the nice little kink there as it goes through the railway bridge. That's quite unusual. And if I spin you around here, a look over the station with that lovely little waiting shelter there on the left hand side. I'm so glad that's still here. And that is a view towards Reigate. At time of filming, passenger services are provided by Class 377 electric multiple units. Come down off that footbridge and immediately you'll see the platform information board. There's a way out sign, and up here is a very, very new train information board, which is very good to see. I was expecting a dot matrix display, but that's excellent. There's a defibrillator, tap in, tap out card reader, a help point, and this is where you'll find a ticket machine. It's in working order, very good to see. And as you exit the station from platform 2, I wonder if that was an old railway cottage there. But across the way there, more importantly, there is what looks like a very, very nice pub indeed. And just before I go onto the platform, there's the station signage for Penshurst. I cannot see an onward travel information board yet, which that'll be a first. Anyway, let's get onto the platform. As I've come up on that little ramp there, I have found it, and it wouldn't let me down. Here is the onward travel information board. Let's have a little look and see exactly what's along this platform. The one good thing about being on platform 2 is you get a very good view of that wonderful waiting shelter across on platform 1. I really think it's excellent that that's been kept, and not just kept, but also kept in very good condition, so well done. Let's have a little look. In contrast, on this side, you've got a rather 1970s style waiting shelter there. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets replaced with one of the newer bus style shelters in the near future. Walking down platform 2, you've got some seating there on your right hand side. Quite a wide platform actually here at Penshurst, which is very nice. And of course, as I mentioned in the history section, this is Penshurst for Chiddingstone, and in fact we are actually closer to Chiddingstone than we are Penshurst. It is a bit of one of those anomalies that sometimes happens on the railway, that Penshurst was chosen as the station name, and that's normally because of historical land ownership and people wanting the railway near their land. And we'll carry on down and have a look at the views as we get to the end of platform 2. It's coming up to the end of platform 2, looking towards Redhill and Reigate. Oh, out of focus, there we go. Not as good, I think, as the view you get on platform 1, but it's still a very good, you know, straight as the die view down there. Excellent for photography or videography. The statistics for Penshurst are that it opened in 1842. Currently, at time of filming, it has 1 train per hour in each direction, with a few more during the rush hours. And the entry and exit figures for 2023-2024 were 43,600. Well, I've got to admit, Penshurst has really surprised me. I was expecting a station a little bit like Leigh, but realistically, it's nothing like it at all. That lovely little waiting shelter you can see behind me is obviously the highlight, but there's so many little quirky things like the bend through the tunnel I can see in front of me here, and also some excellent views for the enthusiast. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment and subscribe. And if you can, get out there, get on the railway and see where it takes you. Thanks very much for watching.